All right. Good morning, everybody. Before I mute you all, say good morning to me. Good morning. How are we doing today out there?
Good morning.
Good morning. Awesome.
Good. Yeah. All right. Just want to make sure you're all there. All right. Hold on a second. All right. Okay. So today is the 19th of April, which means you guys are we're through the first quarter and halfway through the second quarter. Okay, so we are very fortunate today from Arizona to have Chuck Finzer. Chuck, hit *6 on your phone, and then we'll be able to hear you. *6, not pound, but *6, and then we can hear you. So just let me know when you've done that.
All right, I'm here. Good morning. Good morning.
There he is. All right, Chuck, welcome. So glad to have you. All right,
Thanks
so glad
for inviting me.
My pleasure, man. So tell everybody, your office, maybe give them your phone number, tell them a little about you, your production level. So just give a quick intro before we get into our man, if you could do that.
Sure. Well, I'm with Berkshire Hathaway, and I'm in the Anthem office. And my number is 602-908-4424 if you want to reach out to me, or charles.finzer@bhhsaz.com. And I've been in the real estate world now for a few years. I've got my goals set on 24 transactions this year, and I'm on target. So I'm hoping for a good year. I'm part of a team called Desert Elite Group that Jeff Huff is the head of, and he's been on your podcast before. Jeff's a great guy, and I'm really loving the real estate world. I was in a different universe for 38 years, and now I'm in the real estate world. And biggest part about why I got in is I love to help people and want to help people turn their dreams into reality.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I know Robert suggested you. I thought that was a great idea. And he said, you're having an incredible year, and you were on a team. And we have people on these calls that are either on a team, thinking about going on a team, getting off a team. There's all kinds of situations within the company too, right? So perfect. All right, so good. So now you're going to so that's 2 closings a month, which is absolutely fabulous. And for anybody who doesn't know that, the Anthem office, which I've been to several times, is just outside of Phoenix. I would say, what is it, like 20 minutes out probably, Chuck?
Yeah, a little bit more, but you're close. It's probably about 30, but yeah, very close to that.
Have you ever driven with me? I'm just kidding.
I have not had that pleasure,
okay.
But maybe you drive a little faster than me.
No, I'm just kidding. I do not. I try not to. No, and I drive a company vehicle while I'm there, or a rental car. No.
Oh.
You know what? Tell me, what's incredible is I had from the Northwest office, Stan Abrams on my one of my group calls. The one that you called in was Stan's on that call, and Stan's been in the business for a long time, and he was spouting off the numbers from Maricopa County, him and Eric Sines, about how low your inventory is. It's pretty incredible right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I've only been in it a few years, but I have been in it long enough to know that right about now, this time of year, in the valley, we should have about 23,000 homes, and we're down at like around 3,000, 3,400, somewhere in there. I have not looked at it quite first thing this morning. I do that normally around 9 or 10 o'clock. But yeah, it is so low. It's like 20 houses for every agent. It's incredibly low.
Right. I hear it's incredibly low, and I think the numbers are even a little bit lower than that right now. And obviously California is even lower, and then Nevada's is probably because of our status of. I would say that all 3 markets are incredibly hot. Arizona and California are probably the hottest, and Nevada is very close. And people who live in Nevada are like, this is the hottest it's ever been here. Yeah, it's true. But it's been pretty. Arizona is the number 2 destination for people in the country. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh yeah, I've been reading that, and that's definitely helping. Obviously, helping get clients to come look here. You just got to find unique ways to find properties. You can't just use the same old current ways that everyone else is using. You've got to be creative. I've been able to, even though people are a little nervous about, I'd love to sell my home, but where am I going to go next? Well, you've got to find creative ways to be able to find them a home first to then put them at ease of then selling their home. So I've been pretty fortunate doing that up here in the Anthem Country Club. So, because I live here in the Country Club, so.
That's great. Yeah, and we have that great tool, Apex, which actually will help them out tremendously if they want to do that as well. So there's all kinds of ways. it's great when we have some company tools that can assist as well.
And it's all a mindset of too, which I know you preach. It's about a mindset. If you keep telling yourself, "Oh, there's no inventory, there's no inventory." Well, there's inventory. You just got to be smart about how you find it. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. And one of the agents I coach in the North Scottsdale office, the Kierland office, she visits for sale by owners right when they come on, and she's sold a couple before they even got on the market. Just so you have the inventory in MLS. You know what's in, and you also have this inventory in your head that very few people know about because everybody thinks all the FSBOs are selling. You're wasting your time, right? So there's all kinds of ways. And one of my favorites is if I have a buyer and they want to be in a certain neighborhood, I will knock that whole neighborhood for them with the hot buyer script until I find them one, right? So there's all kinds of ways. Tell us, what other ways are you guys looking at right now as far as a team and yourself to get creative in this crazy market?
Well, we definitely we look for what a client is looking for, and then we do kind of what you just talked about is literally get out there and door knock, find the addresses of the homes of that the client would consider buying, and go and see if those folks would consider selling. You literally got to get out there and say, "Hey, we've got buyers, and they looking for your type of home, and I'm going to this list, and I hold up the list. Here's the list of 20 houses that they've identified that they'd like, and we just want to see if you're interested or if you know anyone that's interested." And it works. People appreciate your honesty, and they'd rather see you. People are craving to see people. Most of them. Some get a little nervous, but a lot of them are just craving interaction. So getting on the phone or in front of people are tired of being cooped up. So I've found it pretty easy to get people that want to talk to me.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. Absolutely. So you've been in the business how long now?
A little over 3 years.
A little over 3 years, and it's a great goal in your so to do 2 deals a month, which obviously I should ask you, what is your average sale price where you are there in Anthem?
It's right around 500 in the 500,000 range.
So that's
because I focus a lot on the country club. So
yeah. So how do you focus on the country club, and what kind of activities do you do so you can do 2 deals a month? I think that'd be very advantageous because whether in Vegas or California or whatever, that's just still things that they can use there as well.
It's not rocket science. I think the difference is it's doing it versus thinking about doing it. I mean, I get up every day. I have a morning routine. I go through a lot of different things, but I send out 2 personalized notes every single day. So in a year, by the time you're done in a year, you've sent out almost 500 note cards to people. So I do that every single day and make sure that happens. So I do a lot of social activities here in the club and get involved. I'll go and watch pickleball. I've joined the Wednesday club here. I'm not a golfer, but I go to a lot of the social events, and just slowly but surely, my name is getting out there. Interestingly enough, I'm part of the Anthem Chamber here, the Chamber of Commerce, and every time you go to a meeting, you have to get up and you have to give a little spiel on yourself. Well, one morning I was being a little lazy, and I stood up and I said, "Chuck Finzer, tallest realtor Anthem," and I sat down. And interestingly enough, that was probably a year ago, and that is stuck. And more people, they'll see me in the grocery store and point, "Hey, aren't you the tallest realtor in Anthem?" And that thing's just getting out there, and it's getting me known, and it's getting people to know who I am. I've got listings. I've got several listings right now, and people are reaching out to me saying, "Hey, I saw your signs all over, and would like to talk to you about how I could sell my house." So it's a lot of the standard things, but it's actually making sure you're doing them, not just thinking about doing them, and staying at them. When they don't work the first time, you can't give up. You got to send the postcards. You got to do the door knocking. You got to make the phone calls. You've got to be consistent and set a target for what you're going to do. I have a target of talking to 10 people every day about real estate. And that's just a goal that I stick very hard to every day. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
That's great. So you do all the social activities. So Anthem Country Club, how many homes are in the Anthem Country Club?
2,880.
So 2,880, which means the reason I asked you is I knew you'd know the answer, which means you've looked at it. So so 2,880, and that's basically your farm. That's how you work it.
Yeah, and whenever I make a sale, I do I do all the standard things. If I'm doing an open house, I go and I knock on the morning of the open house, 10 doors every direction. If I make a sale, I'm sending out a couple hundred postcards. If I get a listing, I'm sending out a couple hundred postcards. And just over and over in a period of time, because it's not that huge of an area. It's just I'm getting to be known. And there's been people here that have been doing this for the whole 20 years that Anthem's been around, and they're kind of resting a little bit on always having the business. And that's not a good thing to do. I don't care if you've been in this business 6 months or 20 years, you got to keep looking for new relationships and making sure people understand. I also don't do this. I don't have commission breath. I do this because I really want to give back and help people. And I think people feel that, and they tell me about them. I get testimonials from everyone I do a transaction with. I've had the good fortune of not only listing, but I've double-ended 4 deals this year. So that's always fun.
Nice. So your listings that you have, you mentioned you have a couple current listings. Are they all in Anthem Country Club, or do you have some outside of it as well?
Nope. All my listings are in the Country Club so far this year.
Wow. So that's awesome. I love it. Do you ever, now I'm just going to ask you, do you ever like go back and look at like old expireds in the area, or you just do basically all those farming activities that you're talking about?
No, I look at the expireds and the FSBOs that come out on the list that's done by our company, by corporate. And I also, while I'm driving around, if I see a FSBO, I stop in and say, hey, I've got customers. And my clients that are buyers, they appreciate that I'm willing to go outside of the box and not just look at the MLS and deal with the MLS. They like it that I bring things to them that others aren't bringing to them. Or I know about things that are coming up because I have people that are talking to me that are considering listing. And, I can't tell them the address or can't tell them all the specifics, but I can say, well, hey, there's something that might be coming down the pike here. Is this something you might be interested in? So I create a lot of relationships and create a lot of energy with people because I know what's going on. The more I deal with people, the more I know what's going on up here in the club. So
that's great. So I love it. And so you like casted a net over this whole place, and you're watching the numbers. You know the expireds, you know the FSBOs. You're not afraid to stop in. I can picture you probably just get in the car and drive it every now and then to make sure everything is the way it was before, right? I mean, as far as no new signs or anything like that.
Absolutely. I'll pick a quadrant, when I'm going to go out and have a meeting, you don't ever take the same route twice. Always make sure you're taking a different route because it's amazing how fast things can go up and come down, or you see someone with a trailer out in front of their house, or you see a house that, one of the snowbirds hasn't been back because the trees are just not trimmed, and, all those types of things. And I look them up on maricopa.gov and I get their address of where the owner address is, and I send them a note card and just say, hey, I noticed, is there anything I can do? Would you like me to go in the house and make sure it's okay? I can tell you haven't been back in a while, because I'm their neighbor, and I sincerely mean it. I don't mean it just to try to get a sale. I want to help people. That's why I got in this business.
And that comes across, Chuck, just so you know, too. You said the key words there, too. You know what commission breath. If anybody doesn't know what commission breath is, that's when I'll give you an example. So I'm talking to somebody a couple weeks ago, and we were going through a scenario. The seller said, well, I really don't want to sell till the end of the year. And the agent said something to the effect of, well, I know the market's hot now, but we don't know what's going to happen by the end of the year. To me, if I'm a seller and I'm hearing that, that smells a little commission breathy to me. Yep. In other words, the way the market's going right now, this is going to go on for a while. I mean, if you wait till – if somebody's plan is actually to sell early next year, if you do the numbers, it could be worth 5% more by next year, January. Who knows? 10, right? So it's not a bad situation if their situation makes sense for them to wait. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. And that's why it's translating into a lot of business, Chuck. Good for you.
You got to ask a lot of questions. You got to not just ask the questions, but you got to really care about the answers. You got to really want to know the answers to the questions, and you got to ask them the what we call the forward questions. And that's what's going on out there with the future. What's going on with their dreams? What's going on with school? What's going on with work? All the things about them. People love to talk about themselves, and it's interesting because if you're really listening, you can find unique things that you'll understand the timing of what they're trying to do or not do. And so, hey, this is not a a sprint. This is a marathon. So,
sure, so true. So true. So tell them what that means, because I've heard that before too, the Ford method.
Well, there's a book that our team does a lot of studying out of, and we look through it and we talk about it a lot. And it's a style of asking questions. It's how you position yourself when you're talking to someone, how you ask the questions that will get them talking about them and not just talking to them about real estate. That's the worst thing you can do is talk to them about real estate and say, oh, do you know anyone that wants to sell today? You want to ask them about their future. You want to ask them about their occupation. You want to ask them about their dreams. That's what Ford stands for.
Yeah. Yeah. Future, occupation. What's the R?
Oh God, you got me stumped at the moment.
And then dreams.
I know dreams is the last one. RF.
Relationships, I think, maybe?
Relatives, their relationships, their children.
Relationships, right.
Spouse.
That's what it is, yeah. Okay, relationship, right. So that's a great way to remember. And, what you just described in my success series, okay, shameless plug, which is starting today at 1 o'clock in all markets, even Arizona, because our time is the same now, on Google Hangouts, Zoom, or live at the St. Rose office. But I call that intense curiosity. I don't know, but when I got in the business when I was 19, I just thought someone allowing you to sell them the most valuable asset they own, where they raise their family, where they get married, it's just, to me, it's such an honor and a special, wonderful, the American dream, that you need to know everything. You have to be intensely curious. You have to take that fiduciary responsibility seriously. And it sounds like you do that all day and all night, Chuck. So great job.
I try. I think it's the sincerity of really wanting to help them. And the only way to help them is to really understand where they're at and where they're trying to go and really care about it. And people sense that stuff. People love to buy and hate to be sold. So you gotta want to just help them, help them with their challenge and find out about their challenge and care. And I try to just be real and be credible and not pushy. And I know you say all the same words. I really do believe, though, a lot of people hear these words and they hear these things, but they don't go and do them consistently. That's where the challenge, I think, is. And maybe it's just because I've been in a different industry, and a lot of industries have these types of things that you need to do to be successful, and you can't just talk about them and think about them. You got to actually do them, and they work. They take time.
Right.
There's no shortcut.
Everything takes time. Nothing works immediately, but everything works eventually. So true.
I like that one.
All right.
I like that one.
All right. So just, what? Here's my favorite question to ask. I love to ask this question, and that is, okay, so don't worry, you'll know the answer. You probably already mentioned a few of them. If you could give them your three, so to be successful in the business, because so let's put it into perspective. The average person in NAR sells like 3.8 homes a year. Let's just call it 4. Okay, so you're doing, I don't know what that would be, but it'd be a lot. You're doing like 7 times, 8 times more than that. All right, at 24, and you're on pace. You have it dialed in. So if you could give them the 3 most important pieces of advice, what would you say they are?
One, you need to set goals, and you need to read yourself your goals every morning. And those goals are not just productivity goals, but why are you in this? What's your why? Why are you doing this? And don't just, when people say read them, here's where I think they make a mistake. Don't just read them in your head. Say them out loud, because your brain processes it differently when it hears it versus you just are reading it. So if that's talking to 10 people a day or 5 people a day or 2 people a day, whatever that goal is, set it and then read it to yourself every morning out loud. Say it out loud. That's number 1. Number 2, I can't say enough about sending out 2 personal note cards every single day. Some of them can be to brand new people. Some of them are going to be people that you already know. Nothing better than receiving a note card in the mail where it says, hey, I was just thinking about you and wanted to say hi, make sure you're all right, wanted to see what's going on in your world today. So that's a great way for people to say, wow, they care about me. And again, It's got to be genuine, honest, and heartfelt. And 3, that's 2. Those are really important ones to me.
Yeah, those are good.
3, not just be patient. Have patience. Know that it's going to work. It's a journey. It's not not a sprint. It is a race, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. And be patient and do it every day. Be consistent. Consistency will be number 3.
Okay, consistency. I love it. All right, so good. I love it. That's an incredible way to look at it. And I listen to audiobooks all the time, but the one I just finished a couple books ago basically said that if you have goals, okay, and you tell them to other people, like I do in my coaching, I make them say it just like you just said. Say it out loud, okay, in front of a group of people or on the phone, technically. But then when you follow it up with them in writing as well, the chances go through the roof of you doing it. So you say them, and then I would say what you're talking about, saying them out loud to yourself is critically important. Rewriting them every day is critically important. Talk to people who will support you. Like join my coaching, folks. I have openings. I'm doing Success Series this week, so I expect it to close up by the end of this week. But join my coaching. All you have to do is email my assistant, Sydney, SYDNEYS, at BHHSNV.com, and I can get you into the coaching. All right. And so Chuck, other than those, okay, so what do you see? Because everybody has an opinion of the market. So since I have you, what do you see the market doing in Arizona through the end of the year into next year? What are your feelings?
Well, the probably the report that I have found, and again, fortunately or unfortunately, I've been in this business for 3 years, but the Cromford report, I've really watched that report and watched how accurate it is. And there's different title companies that put on a review of that report once a month, and I believe that's a fantastic thing for a real estate agent, executive, broker, whatever you call yourself and whatever you are, to listen to, because what's happened here in Arizona is we're nothing like when the world fell apart in 2007, 2008. We are in a position where we have the construction industry has underbuilt consistently for the last several years, probably 6 or 7 years, and the growth rate of the population has increased higher than it's ever increased before. And those two things have created this lack of inventory, as well as very low interest rates. So even through a pandemic, our real estate world was crazy, even though you would think people wouldn't be buying, they were buying like crazy. Well, that's just going to continue because it's just going up, up, up. And it takes months, once it levels off, to start going back down the other way. So it could be 8, 9, 10 months when it levels off, and it's yet to level off. So I see it going through the end of this year easily.
Yeah, so do I. And the Cromford report's absolutely right, because of the crush of 2007 and how many people really went out of business, had issues. Builders were reluctant to build out that far. As a matter of fact, when you land in Arizona or Nevada, you can see the infrastructure, depending on which way you're going in, that hasn't even been used from the last boom. Still out there, especially in Vegas, you can still see it from the air. You can see the lots and different things that haven't even got to yet. But I see that as well. Also, I think we have, especially where you are in Nevada, we have a tremendous amount of people moving from other parts of the country, California being the number one, which is creating, and that's why the prices are ballistic, because they're paying less. If they're coming from New York or Chicago or California, they're paying so much less in Arizona, which is driving the price up. Same with Nevada, right? So we have it's like the perfect storm of real estate. And I agree with the Cromford report. It's going to be a while. And then don't forget the millennials. The millennials have finally jumped in the market in the last year and a half, and decided, you know what, this is a great thing, rather to own than to rent.
Can I add one more really important thing to do to help increase your productivity? Can I add something I should have
Absolutely,
said?
Chuck.
I had
right
it in front of here, and I had it in front of me, and I forgot for some reason.
Please do.
So I think it's extremely important. One of the big things we hear about real estate folks is they never get back to people. They're not good at getting back to people for whatever reason. And I think it's we get so busy, and especially in the market like right now, that we forget about a lot of different people, a lot of warm leads and leads that we don't follow up on. And it's really critical to stay in contact with all those folks. And there's something that we've utilized out of that same book that I mentioned that it's called the Business Tracker. And it's a list that has your warm prospects, your hot prospects, your under contract, and your closed files. And it's just a way to see your buckets. And I keep it with me every day, all day, and I look at it once or twice a day, maybe even more sometimes, just to make sure I've contacted these people. And it's not just the warm prospects you got to stay in touch with. The people that are under contract, or the people that you have a listing, or the people that are in process to close, if they call you for an update before you call them, you're failing. You need to be on the phone with them several times a week saying, here's what's going on, here's what's happening. Even if it's a tiny little shift in what's going on, they know you're on it, and they appreciate it, and they know you really care about what you're doing for them. So the Business Tracker is a great way to do that, to keep all your buckets in front of your face, because it's not hard to do, and you just got to maintain it once a week and update it. So that's a really important tool that I use as well.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, good. All right, there we go. Okay, so I really appreciate you, Chuck, taking your time out this morning. Okay, this has been incredibly helpful. Keep being awesome. Keep succeeding at the level you are. I think the market's going to help you tremendously as well. But once again, it goes back to the same thing. You need to be doing activities like Chuck is doing. I'm talking to everybody else now, that cause you to take listings. So if you need some help with that, please take my success series this week. Once again, Chuck, thank you very much for your time. We'll talk soon, my man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you. All right. We'll talk soon. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.